Have you noticed that the people who command the most respect often say the least? They don't argue. They don't over-explain. They don't raise their voice. Most people talk too much because they're afraid of being misunderstood. They explain, justify, and defend every decision, hoping respect will come from being reasonable. But the more they talk, the more their words lose weight, and slowly, so does their presence. Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. Respect doesn't come from clever wording or emotional intensity. It comes from clarity, restraint, and the ability to stand firm without noise. The Stoics understood that every unnecessary word weakens your authority. Say less, meaning more. In this video, you'll learn 6 Stoic phrases, short, calm, and precise, that instantly command respect. Not because they sound impressive, but because they draw clear boundaries and reveal inner discipline. You don't need to dominate conversations to be respected. You need to choose your words like a Stoic, rarely, deliberately, and without apology. Phrase number 1. I'm not available for that. This phrase sounds simple, almost cold, but that's exactly why it works. Most people feel a surge of anxiety the moment a request crosses their path. They worry about disappointing others, about seeming difficult, about being judged as selfish. So instead of answering clearly, they soften their response, dilute it, or hide behind excuses that betray their own boundaries. I'm not available for that. Removes all of that noise. It doesn't attack, it doesn't justify, it doesn't invite negotiation. It simply states reality. And reality, when spoken calmly, carries weight. Many people confuse respect with likability. They believe if they stay agreeable, flexible, and endlessly accommodating, respect will follow. But deep down, you already know the truth. The moments you lost the most self-respect were not when you said no, but when you said yes while your inner voice was screaming no. Stoic philosophy teaches that your time and energy are not communal property. They belong to you, and you are responsible for how they are spent. When you overextend yourself to avoid discomfort, you quietly teach others that your boundaries are negotiable. And once boundaries are negotiable, respect begins to erode. This phrase draws a clean line without hostility. In a workplace setting, it prevents unrealistic expectations from taking root. In relationships, it stops resentment before it hardens. In daily life, it restores a sense of inner alignment between what you feel and what you say. Notice how this sentence does not explain why you're unavailable. That omission is intentional. Over-explaining hands control to the listener. It places you on trial as if your priorities must be approved. A Stoic does not seek permission to honor their limits. The real power of this phrase is emotional discipline. You deliver it without apology, without tension, without a defensive tone. You say it, then you stop. Silence does the rest. That pause communicates confidence more loudly than any argument ever could. If you struggle with guilt after using it, that's not a sign you did something wrong. It's a sign you're breaking an old pattern of self-abandonment. Growth often feels uncomfortable because it challenges the version of you that survived by pleasing others. Practice this phrase first in low-stakes situations. Decline the unnecessary meeting. Refuse the favor that drains you. Each time you do, you reinforce a quiet message to yourself. My time matters. And when your self-respect rises, people sense it. They may not like the boundary, but they will feel it. Calm boundaries don't push people away. They reposition you. Think about the strongest people you've encountered. Not the loud ones, not the aggressive ones, but the steady ones. They didn't rush to respond. They didn't scramble for approval. Their presence felt grounded, as if their life already had structure and direction. This phrase is one of the tools that creates that feeling. When you say it, you are not rejecting a person. You are protecting a principle. You are choosing order over chaos, intention over impulse. And that choice, repeated consistently, reshapes how the world interacts with you. People learn quickly where the line is drawn, especially when it is drawn without anger. Respect is rarely demanded. It is demonstrated. This is how quiet authority is built. One clear sentence, one honest refusal, one moment of self-loyalty at a time. Over time, this discipline transforms not only conversations, but your identity, posture, and inner calm as well. Phrase number 2. That doesn't work for me. At first glance, this phrase may sound ordinary, almost polite, almost casual. But beneath its simplicity lies a level of self-respect that many people struggle to express. Most of us were conditioned to soften our truth, to bend our preferences, and to absorb inconvenience just to keep things smooth. We learned early that saying what truly works for us can feel risky. So instead, people lie gently. They say they're busy when they're not. They blame timing, circumstances, or other people. Not because they are dishonest by nature, but because they are afraid of standing firmly in their own needs. Over time, this habit creates a quiet fracture between who you are and how you present yourself. That doesn't work for me closes that fracture. This phrase does something powerful. It centers reality around your experience without attacking anyone else's. It doesn't accuse. It doesn't debate. It doesn't escalate. It simply states a fact. And facts, when delivered calmly, are difficult to argue with. Stoic philosophy places great emphasis on responsibility. Not responsibility for other people's emotions, but responsibility for your own actions, choices, and limits. When something does not align with your values, energy, or priorities, it is not virtuous to accept it out of fear. It is not noble to betray yourself for comfort. Many people hesitate to use this phrase because they fear it sounds selfish. But selfishness is driven by excess and disregard. This phrase is driven by clarity. It does not demand the other person change. It only declares where you stand. In professional settings, this sentence prevents you from being cornered into unreasonable expectations. It communicates that your agreement is intentional, not automatic. In personal relationships, it protects you from quiet resentment. It allows honesty to replace emotional debt. What makes this phrase especially effective is what it leaves out. There is no follow-up explanation, no emotional cushioning, no list of reasons. That restraint is what gives it weight. When you explain too much, you invite negotiation. You imply that your boundary is flexible if the argument is good enough. A Stoic understands that not every truth requires justification. Tone matters here more than words. This phrase must be spoken slowly, evenly, without tension. Not rushed, not defensive. Then you stop talking. That pause signals certainty. It shows you are not seeking validation, only expressing reality. If someone presses further, that pressure reveals more about them than about you. Their discomfort is not yours to manage. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from focusing on what is within your control. Your clarity is within your control. Their reaction is not. Emotionally, this phrase can feel uncomfortable at first. You may notice guilt rising in your chest, a reflex to explain, to smooth things over. That discomfort is the residue of old conditioning. Sit with it. Let it pass. Each time you resist the urge to over-justify, you strengthen your inner alignment. Over time, people begin to treat you differently, not because you are harsh, but because you are consistent. They sense that when you say yes, it means something, and when you say no, it is final. Respect grows where boundaries are clear and calm. This phrase teaches you to honor your internal signals before they turn into frustration or burnout. It trains you to trust your judgment without needing permission. And that trust, once established, becomes visible in how you speak, how you move, and how you carry yourself. "That doesn't work for me" is not rejection. It is self-knowledge spoken out loud. And self-knowledge, expressed without fear, is one of the strongest foundations of quiet authority. Phrase number 3, "I've made my decision." Most people struggle not with making decisions, but with standing behind them. Once a choice is made, doubt creeps in. They reopen the conversation, soften their stance, and signal uncertainty without realizing it. In doing so, they invite pressure, persuasion, and endless negotiation. The phrase, "I've made my decision," shuts that door quietly. It doesn't argue, it doesn't justify, it simply announces that the internal debate is over. For many people, that moment feels terrifying because it removes the safety net of approval. We are taught to believe that flexibility equals maturity. But there is a difference between adaptability and indecision. When you constantly reopen settled choices, you communicate that your word is temporary. And when your word feels temporary, respect has nothing solid to land on. Stoic philosophy treats decisiveness as a form of inner order. Marcus Aurelius wrote about acting according to reason, then letting go. A Stoic does not endlessly relitigate choices already aligned with values. Once reason has spoken, the mind rests. This phrase is powerful because it ends manipulation disguised as discussion. Some people push not because they care, but because they sense hesitation. When you sound unsure, they keep pressing. "I've made my decision" removes that opening. Emotionally, this phrase forces you to tolerate discomfort instead of escaping it. You may feel tension in your body after saying it. A pull to explain, a fear of being judged. That discomfort is the price of self-respect, and it is worth paying. In real life, this phrase is most effective when pressure repeats itself. Family members revisiting old arguments, colleagues pushing past boundaries, partners trying to renegotiate decisions you already made clear. This sentence ends the loop. The key is delivery. No anger, no defensiveness, no long explanation afterward. You say it once, calmly, and then you stop. Silence reinforces finality. If the other person reacts emotionally, remain steady. Their reaction belongs to them. Stoicism teaches that you are responsible for your choices, not for managing others' feelings about those choices. Over time, this phrase reshapes how people approach you. They learn that persistence will not bend you. They stop testing the line because the line does not move. What remains is a quieter, more respectful dynamic. More importantly, it reshapes how you see yourself. You begin to trust your judgment. You stop rehearsing explanations in your head. You feel grounded even when others disagree. Decisiveness is not rigidity. You can still change your mind when new information appears, but you do so intentionally, not under pressure. That difference is everything. When you say, "I've made my decision," you're not closing yourself off from growth. You're closing the door to manipulation, guilt, and endless second-guessing. That clarity becomes visible in your posture, your tone, and your presence. This phrase teaches a deeper Stoic lesson. Peace follows commitment. When your inner world is ordered, your outer world responds. You stop leaking energy through indecision. You stand where you chose to stand. And in that stillness, respect naturally gathers, because certainty without aggression is rare, and rare things carry weight. It is not loud confidence, it is quite resolved, and once people sense it, conversations change. Pressure fades, arguments shorten. What remains is a simple understanding. This is someone who knows where they stand and will not be moved. That certainty, practiced daily, becomes the foundation of authority that does not ask, only stands. Calmly, consistently, without apology, always. Phrase number 4, "I don't need to explain myself." This phrase strikes fear into many people, not because it is rude, but because it goes against years of conditioning. From a young age, you are taught that being understood is safe, that if you explain yourself well enough, people will accept you, approve of you, and leave you alone. So you learn to justify every choice, soften every boundary, and defend every instinct. Over time, explaining became a reflex. But here is the uncomfortable truth. The more you explain yourself, the more you place your worth in other people's hands. You turn your life into a courtroom, and everyone else becomes the judge. Respect cannot grow in that environment. I don't need to explain myself is not about arrogance. It is about dignity. It is the moment you stop auditioning for approval and start standing on principle. Stoic philosophy is clear on this point. You are responsible for living according to reason and virtue, not for persuading others to agree with you. When your actions align with your values, explanation becomes optional. Silence becomes sufficient. This phrase is powerful because it withdraws permission. Permission to question your motives. Permission to interrogate your choices. Permission to drag you into endless debates that drain your energy and blur your clarity. Most people over-explain because they fear being misunderstood. But Stoics understand something deeper. Being misunderstood is not fatal. Self-betrayal is. In real life, this phrase is not used lightly. It appears when conversations cross a line, when curiosity turns into control, when discussion turns into judgment, when questions are asked not to understand but to undermine. At that moment, continuing to explain does not bring clarity. It brings erosion. The strength of this phrase lies in restraint. You do not say it loudly. You do not say it defensively. You say it calmly, almost neutrally, and then you stop talking. That pause communicates more than words ever could. Many people will react strongly when they hear it. Some will accuse you of being cold. Others will say you are difficult or secretive. That reaction reveals something important. They were not seeking understanding. They were seeking leverage. Stoicism teaches you to recognize this distinction. There is a difference between honest dialogue and boundary violation. This phrase exists to protect you in the second case, not the first. Emotionally, using this phrase can feel like stepping into open space without armor. You may feel exposed, vulnerable, as if you're breaking an invisible rule. That discomfort is the echo of old habits dying. Let it pass. Each time you resist the urge to explain, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You feel your spine straighten, your thoughts slow down, your words become deliberate. You no longer scramble to manage perceptions, and something subtle begins to happen. People stop pushing as hard, conversations shorten, interactions become cleaner, not because you are unapproachable, but because you are no longer available for unnecessary scrutiny. This phrase teaches a profound Stoic lesson. Your life does not require consensus to be valid. Your choices do not need a committee. When you know why you act, that knowledge is enough. I don't need to explain myself. It's not the end of communication. It is the end of overexposure. It marks the boundary between openness and self-respect. When spoken from calm conviction, it signals maturity. It tells the world that you are guided by principles, not pressure, that you are willing to be misunderstood rather than misaligned. And in that willingness lies true authority. Respect grows where dignity is protected. This phrase is one of the quiet tools that protects it, without force, without noise, without apology. Phrase number 5. Let's keep this professional. This phrase is quiet, controlled, and devastatingly effective in moments where emotions threaten to take over. It is not an insult, not a warning, and not an attempt to dominate. It is a reset. Most people lose respect the moment they allow conversations to slide from facts into feelings. Sarcasm appears, voices sharpen, boundaries blur, and suddenly the discussion is no longer about the issue. This is where Stoicism intervenes. Let's keep this professional pulls the conversation back to neutral ground without escalating tension. It does not accuse the other person of bad behavior. It simply reestablishes the standard. Stoics understand that once conversations become emotional, truth becomes secondary and ego takes control. At that point, winning the argument costs more than it gives. This phrase is not about superiority. It is about order. In workplaces, it stops passive aggression and personal attacks before they spread. In relationships, it draws a line between disagreement and disrespect. And in life, it reminds others that you will not participate in chaos. Many people avoid this phrase because they fear it sounds stiff or unfriendly. But professionalism is not coldness. It is emotional discipline. Stoicism does not suppress emotion. It refuses to be ruled by it. When you use this phrase, you are choosing stability over reactivity. The delivery matters. Your tone should be steady, your posture relaxed, your words measured. No sarcasm, no edge. Calm authority resets the room. If the other person continues to escalate, that escalation is no longer mutual. You have done your part. Stoicism teaches that your responsibility ends at your behavior. Their reaction belongs to them. Emotionally, this phrase can feel like standing still while someone else storms. You resist the urge to explain, defend, or retaliate. That restraint builds inner strength. Over time, people learn that emotional tactics do not work on you. They adjust. Respect grows not because you dominate, but because you remain composed. This phrase protects your energy. It signals maturity, self-control, and leadership. People instinctively follow those who can regulate themselves. Let's keep this professional is not a shutdown. It is a recalibration. It brings the conversation back to purpose, structure, and respect. And when spoken without anger, it leaves no room for drama. This is the Stoic way. Not louder, not colder, just steadier. And steadiness, over time, commands respect without ever demanding it. This phrase trains you to value order over ego, clarity over impulse, and principles over momentary relief. Each time you choose it, you reinforce a calm identity others can feel. That feeling lingers longer than arguments ever do, and that is why calm authority always wins. Because chaos feeds on reaction, while professionalism starves it of fuel. This sentence is a quiet anchor in turbulent moments. Use it when respect begins to slip. Use it to protect the atmosphere you stand in. In doing so, you protect yourself, and slowly, others learn to do the same. This is how presence replaces force. This is how authority becomes effortless. And this is how a Stoic speaks without ever raising their voice. Calm is not a weakness. It is controlled and refined. When you choose professionalism over emotion, you choose long-term respect over short-term release. And that choice, repeated consistently, reshapes how people treat you. Not with fear, but with quiet recognition. Because discipline, once visible, speaks louder than emotion ever could, and professionalism is its clearest language. Always calm, always firm. Never emotional. Ever. Phrase number 6. I'm done with this conversation. This is the final phrase for a reason. It is not meant to be used casually, impulsively, or out of irritation. It is a line you draw when respect has already been crossed and calm words no longer restore order. Most people stay in conversations far longer than they should. Not because the discussion is productive, but because they fear what walking away might signal. They worry it will look weak, rude, or immature. So they endure circular arguments, subtle disrespect, and emotional manipulation, slowly draining their energy. Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. Staying where dignity is violated is not patience. It is self-betrayal. I'm done with this conversation is not an emotional outburst. It is a declaration of limits. It signals that the exchange has lost its value and no longer deserves your attention. This phrase carries weight because it ends access. No explanations, no counter-arguments, no final justification. When spoken calmly, it does something profound. It removes the other person's ability to provoke, pressure, or pull you back into chaos. And chaos cannot survive without participation. Many people misuse silence as avoidance. Stoics use withdrawal as strategy. There is a difference. This phrase is used only after clarity has been offered and boundaries have been ignored. It is not the first response. It is the last. That is why it commands such immediate respect. Emotionally, saying this can feel intense. Your body may tighten. Your mind may race with what-ifs. That reaction is natural. You're confronting one of the deepest fears humans carry: rejection. But Stoicism teaches that peace is found not in being accepted, but in remaining aligned with yourself. When you say this phrase, you're choosing self-command over social approval. You're telling yourself that your nervous system, your time, and your dignity matter more than winning an argument. The key is what comes next. You do not linger. You do not explain further. You do not re-engage. You leave, physically or emotionally. That follow-through is what gives the phrase its power. Words alone do not command respect. Actions complete them. Many people will react strongly when they realize they no longer have access to you. They may escalate. They may mock. They may accuse you of running away. Stoicism prepares you for this. Their reaction is not a signal to return. It is confirmation that leaving was necessary. Over time, this phrase reshapes your identity. You stop tolerating conversations that lead nowhere. You stop arguing with people who do not listen. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. And something remarkable happens. Your life becomes quieter. Your mind becomes steadier. Your presence becomes heavier. People begin to notice that you do not linger in dysfunction. They learn that disrespect has consequences, not emotional ones, but access-based ones. And access, once removed, is rarely taken for granted again. This phrase teaches the deepest Stoic lesson of all. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every conversation deserves your voice. Walking away is not a weakness when staying would cost your integrity. It is strength refined. "I'm done with this conversation" is not about control over others. It is about mastery over yourself. It is the moment you choose inner order over external noise. And when you consistently choose order, the world responds differently. People speak more carefully. They push less. They listen more. Because calm finality is rare, and rare things command respect. This is how Stoics end conversations. Not with anger, not with victory, but with dignity intact. Respect is not something you demand, chase, or argue your way into. As you've seen throughout this video, it is built quietly, through clarity, restraint, and self-command. The 6 Stoic phrases you learned are not clever lines meant to impress others. They are tools for protecting your time, your energy, and your dignity. Used calmly and consistently, they signal something deeper than confidence: inner order. Remember, Stoicism is not about being cold or distant. It is about being grounded. When you stop over-explaining, stop negotiating your boundaries, and stop engaging in conversations that drain you, people feel the shift. Not because you became louder, but because you became firmer. Now, don't try to use all 6 phrases at once. That's not discipline, that's performance. Choose one phrase that resonated with you the most and practice it intentionally over the next 7 days. Notice how your posture changes. Notice how conversations shorten. Notice how respect begins to appear without effort. This is the Stoic way. Fewer words, heavier presence. Thank you for spending this time with me and committing to your inner strength. If this message spoke to you, Stay with the practice and stay with the channel. I'll see you in the next video.